After kicking Jim Jordan out of the Speaker's race last week, House Republicans yesterday named their first Speaker designate since Jim Jordan, a guy named Tom Emmer. And then they kicked him out 4 hours later. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Okay, folks, I'm going to preface this video by pointing out that in about 30 minutes, there's going to be a full vote on the House of Representatives for the latest Speaker designate, Mike Johnson. I've got quite a bit to say about him, but I'm going to wait until after that vote. That way we can try to keep it as up to date as possible. Instead, this particular video is about what happened yesterday because it merits its own video. It's hilarious and truly indicative of where the Republican Party is. Okay, we're not going to spend too much time on it. We're going to talk about the brief flash in the pan that was Tom Emmer's speakership bid. So Tom Emmer was the majority whip in the Republican House Conference. Okay, he's high-ranking. He was responsible for, getting the votes for major pieces of legislation, major legislative efforts, relatively high-ranking. They named him to be the Speaker designate, the guy to take Jim Jordan's place as their candidate for Speaker in a full House vote. And then in 4 hours, not 24 hours, 4 hours, they got rid of him, okay? As even Axios points out, the GOP's accelerating doom loop deposes Tom Emmer in a record 4 hours. The Biden-Harris official Twitter page, they're having a field day with this. 4 hours apart. Jake Sherman, breaking, Tom Emmer is the GOP nominee for Speaker of the House. 4 hours later, breaking, Tom Emmer has dropped out of the race for Speaker. Now, you might be thinking, why did this happen? What the heck happened? Well, a lot of it has to do with Donald Trump. Apparently, Tom Emmer was deemed insufficiently loyal to Donald Trump. This is what Trump said at the time that Tom Emmer was the Speaker designate, but before Tom Emmer was no longer the Speaker designate. This is in this 4-hour spread.
You endorse Tom Emmer for Speaker. He hasn't historically been your biggest fan, but he is the most likely candidate right now.
Well, I think he's my biggest fan now because he called me yesterday and he told me I'm your biggest fan. So I don't know about that. Well, we're looking at a lot of people, and I'm sort of trying to stay out of that as much as possible. But they'll get it straightened out. But no, I've always gotten along with him, and I get along with all of them really. A lot of good people.
So, again, Tom Emmer was deemed insufficiently loyal, said that he wasn't Donald Trump's biggest fan. And Donald Trump smugly noted, well, I think he's my biggest fan now because he called me yesterday to basically beg for my support. Now, here's what's hilarious about that. Donald Trump openly saying that. And Tom Emmer responds, thank you, Mr. President. If my colleagues elect me as Speaker of the House, I look forward to continuing our strong working relationship. So obsequious and pathetic, right? And you would think, okay, well, that's just the nature of the Republican Party these days. It's a cult. They have no spine. But here's what's hilarious. Donald Trump sandbagged him. That same Donald Trump sandbagged him. Here's another clip.
Tom Emmer, it looks like he's finished. He was not a supporter. He was a rhino. And it looks like he's finished, but we'll see. You never know.
Do you support anyone else for Speaker, sir?
Looks like Tom Emmer's finished. He wasn't very supportive. He was a rhino, a Republican in name only. Donald Trump went into more detail on his Truth Social site. And again, the Biden-Harris official campaign Twitter page was having a field day with this. Tom Emmer obsequiously saying, again, thank you, Mr. President, thank you, in the first clip. And then Donald Trump goes on Truth Essential, and he says, I have many wonderful friends wanting to be Speaker of the House, and some are truly great warriors. Rhino Tom Emmer, who I do not know well, is not one of them. And note, by the way, how he contradicts himself in the previous clip where he says he's always gotten along with Tom Emmer, suggesting that they do have a relationship, and now he's saying they don't really have one. He never respected the power of a Trump endorsement or the breadth and scope of MAGA, Make America Great Again. He fought me all the way and actually spent more time defending Ilhan Omar than he did me. He's totally out of touch with Republican voters. I believe he has now learned his lesson because he's saying he's pro-Trump all the way, but who can ever be sure? And again, what's hilarious is, all of that was pathetic. Donald Trump is a malignant narcissist. He doesn't care about policy. He doesn't care about principle. He cares only that a particular candidate is sufficiently loyal and obsequious to him. So what's hilarious is he collects Tom Emmer's, his gratitude. He allows Tom Emmer to grovel before him. And then he publicly sandbags him the moment is convenient. Because again, loyalty isn't reciprocal to this man. He's absolutely narcissistic and spite-driven. And again, one day apart. The Biden-Harris campaign is correctly mocking this. Moreover, Donald Trump apparently made phone calls during the brief 4-hour window in which Tom Emmer was the speaker designate. He got on the phone with members to express his aversion for Emmer and his bid for speaker. By Tuesday afternoon, Trump called one person close to him with the message, "He's done, it's over, I killed him." He's done, it's over, I killed him. Just minutes later, Emmer officially dropped out of the race. Folks, this is really pathetic. It really is. If you are, if you're watching and you're centrist or conservative, or centrists or conservatives, this video should make you lose all respect for the Republican Party. Whatever your take is on Trump, whatever your take is on the GOP, wherever your position is, this obsequiousness, this pathetic nature, if Democrats did this, if a Democrat had ever behaved this obsequiously, this cowardly with President Obama or President Biden or whoever else and was treated this way, you would rightly mock and belittle them for their utter lack of principle, their utter lack of, self-respect and dignity. You should do the same thing with the GOP. It's pathetic. This is eminently disqualifying. Tom Emmer should be mocked in perpetuity for how pathetic he is, because he is pathetic, infinitely more pathetic than any Democrat. And again, also it says quite a bit about Donald Trump too. Donald Trump just contradicted himself in a number of different ways between these two clips and these two statements, okay? Because again, he doesn't really care about principle or consistency whatsoever. He just says things. Words just leave his mouth without any regard for whether or not he should, be consistent with what he says 2 hours later, okay? We have no idea where this speaker drama is going to end. There's a possibility it'll end in about 20 minutes because Mike Johnson, he is basically Diet Jim Jordan, but he lacks the name recognition and public baggage. It's possible that he'll squeak on by, but I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out because this brief moment, this brief window is so insightful about how the modern GOP works, its relationship with Donald Trump, and how these career politicians will just utterly debase themselves. Donald Trump made Tom Emmer kiss the ring, kneel before him and kiss the ring, and then he punched Tom Emmer in the face with it. That's hilarious.